Drew, thanks. Well, Brown County's backlog of criminal cases continuing to grow as a legislative committee meets for the first time today to review the state's funding formula for district attorneys' offices.
State Senator Jamie Wall from Green Bay is one of 13 lawmakers selected to serve in this new committee. He tells us he hopes to highlight the issues in Brown County. Using the Brown County Courthouse as an example, State Senator Jamie Wall is hoping to fix a funding formula that he says has become a growing problem that's led to thousands of cases, some waiting for years to be resolved because of a shortage of prosecutors, judges, and other court officials necessary to hold a trial.
It's built up over the years, and that means that people are waiting for justice. If you've been charged with something, you may be cooling your heels in jail, waiting to be charged. If you're the victim of a crime, you're waiting for it to be resolved, and that can be stressful in itself.
Wall says right now Brown County doesn't have the funding other counties in Wisconsin do that is similar in size and population. Plus, statistics show a 220% increase in felony cases from 2014 to 2024. And during that period, the number of felony cases more than 2 years old increased from 8 to 512. That's a 6,300% increase.
We're a little bit below average in terms of the resources that we have in the county court system. We should have, one or two more judges. We should have a few more prosecutors. We should have some more public defenders as well. Those are the three things you need to have a trial, right? And the second thing, and this was also in the numbers, is that we're probably a little more zealous in charging some cases than other counties of our size are.
Those like Wall appointed to this new committee will review the state's weighted caseload formula, which helps determine staff allocations for district attorney offices. Members will consider whether the formula accurately reflects the workload of these offices and whether changes are needed. The committee plans to meet 2 or 3 more times before the end of this year before making a recommendation on legislation with potential changes that lawmakers could vote on beginning in January.